Hello, and welcome back to the new Adult Lexicon. I'm Erin, and thank you for joining me today. The word of the day is finances. So everyone's favorite subject, probably not. But it's an important one, and I think it is especially important to the millennial generation. Finances certainly aren't fun to talk about, and they aren't always even fun to think about, but they are something that we definitely shouldn't ignore, that we can't ignore. I'm going to try to offer some advice today based upon a lot of things I've learned from life, mistakes, some classes, and just pure on experience. This may not be the most fun video, but it's an important one, and I hope you'll stick around and listen. And if you ever get the chance, sign up for a personal finance class, online, at the local community college, through an organization. Like me, it may just change your life. Budgets. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about budgets, don't want to consider making one, having one, sticking to one, but this is the number one and pretty much only recommendation that I have for finances. Because it is so encompassing and really is the basis for any financial goal or problem. And it doesn't matter how old you are, 15, 20, 30, 60, 80, everyone can and should have a budget. We're going to break it down into a few parts though. First, I want to talk about what a budget isn't. It isn't a restriction. This was hard for me. This is what really tripped me up when I first started really sticking to a budget. Sure, this budget's going to lay out money categories and spend thresholds, etc. And it's going to help guide us, but it isn't saying you can only spend X here and only Y here, and you cannot do this and you cannot do that. It's important to understand what the purpose of a budget is. Second, a budget is realistic. This is the most important thing. Just like how it isn't a restriction, it shouldn't just be some ideal exercise you've dreamed up on your end. This is about being very honest with yourself and laying it all out there and creating something that is real and can be stuck with. So the first step is identification. You need to write it down or type it all out. Now, I like Excel, so that's what I use. Feel free to use a program, a piece of paper, whatever works for you. Just create something. I have a very basic Excel file with different tabs, and I just use formulas. It's nothing fancy. Sometimes I put in a graph if I'm feeling excited that day or if I'm trying to look at something specific, but it can be very, very basic. First, you need to identify your income. Write it down. How much and when. If it's not consistent, create a baseline and you'll work from there. But understanding what's coming in every month is the first step. Then you need to identify all of your bills. I always start with this. This is everything that consistently happens every month. Rent or mortgage, utilities, phone, debts, etc. These are the items that have a set amount and a set due date. Then you need to add in your other items. Groceries, eating out, entertainment. And yes, you should put money in the frivolous category if you have it. Not budgeting for these items that you actually spend money on is what will ruin a budget. Because even if you don't have much, earmarking $10 for random spending this week helps. It always helped me feel in control. I know I can spend it because it's there. But if I tried to limit myself to $0, then I screwed up. I blew the whole budget. It'll never work. After you've written these out, you finished all of your expenses, and go back and look at your last month. Make sure you are looking at what is truly happening and you're not forgetting things. After you've written all those out, do your math and subtract your expenses from your income. Simple part. It will probably need tweaking. Mine still does every month, and I've been doing it for years. If you're negative, really look at what you're spending. Where can you cut? What feasibly makes sense? If you're positive, do that as well. Look at what you've written down. Did you forget something? Did you underestimate something? And if you can, budget some into savings. That is an important part for the future. The goal of this, though, is for your income and your expense to zero each other out. Now, I do this for each quarter of the year, and then I also do a monthly budget as well with the line items. Couple of reasons. Some things you have to figure out timing. There's always when a bill is due, and doing that monthly one helps me make sure that I'm not off and suddenly going to have a problem. But also the quarterly one helps me budget for special events. birthdays, Christmas, other things coming up with the kids at school, certain things that are very seasonal that you don't want to forget and suddenly be in trouble with because you don't have anything saved or factored in for that. Now, you don't have to be quite as detailed as that, but doing it at least once will definitely help you get a feel for all the timing and when things are due and when you need to have money in your account. Now, the point of a budget, especially a zero balance budget, isn't to spend it all, spend nothing, or save everything. It's to balance. It's to make sure that everything coming in and going out each month is accounted for. Sometimes that means savings. Sometimes that means extra bills. Sometimes that means fun. We're all at different stages in our lives with different histories, futures, bills, and responsibilities. A budget isn't one size fits all. It needs to be tailored to who we are and the lives that we live. Now, that sounds simple, and putting it on paper for the most part is. The hard part is enacting it. And having a realistic budget can help with that. Maybe start small with some of the reductions in your spending if you're having trouble, and then work up to big paydowns or savings. But having a budget will help you start to work towards all of those financial goals that you have floating around in your head. And if it helps, write those down in your file. I have a whole tab in mine with them notated and process updates and ideal time frames. This helps me prioritize when something unexpected, whether it be positive or negative, happens in my life. Well, thanks again for joining me today. I know this wasn't a fun topic, but it was an important one. I hope that you learned something and that you took something away that can maybe help you in your day-to-day life. Let me know in the comments if you've found something that worked, if you enjoyed this, if you found something that definitely didn't work. Let me know. This is Erin signing off for today. Thanks again for watching the new Adult Lexicon, and I hope you'll join me again next time.